tomorrow. I was like, I can't.
Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome to today's episode of 49 Faithfully. You are your hosts, Miriah Lee and Teran Lewis. TL, what's up?
Nothing much. I just want to say something before we start. Tanya and 49ers throwback. I love y'all, man. You guys are so dedicated to us. Like I feel like you guys just like you set your timer to watch our show, and me and Mariah appreciate that. You guys are always here. You guys are always on time. So I just want to thank you. I just want to thank you, fam.
Yep, I agree. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody that tunes in.
Hmm.
Um, Before we get into the 49ers news, there's a few things I want to talk about. Some kind of have to do with the 49ers and some don't. Um, First, I just wanted to talk about this has to do with 49ers. Did you see? Oh, yeah, I think I sent you that tweet from Tart.
Oh yeah.
So, for those that didn't see it, it had started with Grant. Shout out to my homie Grant. He had posted, something or story or something and said,
Hmm.
well, the 49ers re signed Tart. And then somebody else commented and said, I guess I have two questions. Why haven't they already? And why hasn't anybody else? And so then Tart tweets back and says, maybe I just wanted to rest until camp time.
Hmm.
What do you think about that? You think that he's just resting till camp time, or you think that his phone hasn't been ringing?
Um, I'm gonna say that that's probably false. What he's talking about. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about you, but if somebody calls and offers me a job, I'm taking it. So, you do set a timer. That's awesome, Tanya. But anyway, yeah, I think Tart. I mean, or let me take that back. Maybe he has received some phone calls, but they're not meeting his asking price or something like that. So, I think he'll get a job. I think I mean, if you look at 32 safeties, I think he's capable of starting in this league still. Like he's not terrible, and but he's not the greatest, but he's not terrible. I think his health is an issue, his age, and then I just think like it's just one of those things where it's like you know people are gonna see what they have in camp, and if they don't like what they see, they might bring him in for a visit. But he might not get a job till probably like either when training camp comes or maybe in preseason. So
Yeah, shout out to my sister Lily from Vegas. You know, it's only seems to be the Vegas people that can enter the chat and follow directions so perfectly. She comes in, puts her number in. I don't even have to say anything because she sees it scrolling across the screen. You know, guys, better take notes from Lily there. She's going to be the only one entered and she's going to be the only winner. Shout out to Bryant, to Joel, and to Lily, of course. Appreciate you guys for checking in as well. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think, that's probably a part of it. He probably has got calls, but he thinks maybe he's worth more than what other teams think he's worth.
yeah,
I obviously don't think he's going to come back to the 49ers. I
no,
think that showed even more so that, they had given his number away already. Um, and yeah, I just think that's funny that, like these players, they talk about how much they hate Grant or, all that drama, but yet, he tweets and there they are, even the ones not on the team anymore, tweeting back at him, it's funny.
yeah.
Tanya says she don't follow directions
Hmm.
well.
Nice number though, Tanya. I see what you did there.
um, so yeah, I as well think he will get a job, and whether it's 32 safeties or 64 safeties, I think he's definitely can fit in there somewhere.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I guess once teams get in the camp and see if their safeties can hold up or if they suck or, then he'll probably get a call.
Yeah, I think he'll get a call, and maybe he's looking for like a little bit more of a payday instead of the vet minimum because he got paid peanuts last year. Like I
Yeah.
don't, like I think he barely got paid like $1 million. So yeah, I'm thinking he's looking to probably get maybe 2 or 1.5 or something like that because he is good. Like he's done some good things. There was a stretch during like our towards the end of the season before we made the playoffs where he was playing great football.
Yeah.
He was stopping guys at the line of scrimmage, and he was making plays. He was right where the ball was. I mean, he stopped Aaron Jones from scoring that touchdown on that long run. So he's done some good things for the Niners, but I just think it's one of those things where people are trying to get younger now. You see all the safeties that went earlier, like the Eric Reeds and the Jesse Bates and stuff like that. They're like in their mid-20s, so they're getting those higher contracts and stuff. But I mean, I don't think he comes back here, but I wish the best for Tart. He's going to get signed somewhere. I truly believe that. I'm just shocked that you look at, Robert Saleh, that he went after Marcel Harris before he went after Tart. That was kind of surprising to me. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm gonna be honest here. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes somewhere like Seattle or something like
Yeah.
that. So that's my guess.
Maybe him and Jimmy can go to Seattle together. They can work out a deal. Garoppolo and Tart. Um, I do want to speak about Seattle a little bit later, but we'll come back to it. Next, I want to you and to all the dads out there. If I don't speak to you, we probably won't have a show before then. So happy Father's Day to all of you. Um, yeah, appreciate, takes some real men to be fathers. So definitely appreciate you guys and keep being a great dad. I know your kids love you. I know that your kids are in California, so you're not going to get to spend it with them, but I'm
Yeah.
sure they'll be thinking about you.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of cool. I had him Memorial Weekend, and I appreciate you, Mariah. Thank you. It means a lot. I mean, I love being a dad. There's no other better feeling in the world. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, just every day I wake up and I look at my kids. Whenever I do have them, I'm just like, man, like my blood is running through their veins. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
and it feels good. It feels good. Like their kids are definitely a reflection of you. So, yeah, I had a Memorial Weekend, so we celebrated that day.
yeah.
And I was just like, "What do you guys want to do?" And they're like, "Well, it's your day, Dad." I was like, "Yeah, but I'm easy. What do you guys want to do?" So they were like, so I took them to a comedy show on the Strip, and then we went and ate at Blueberry Hill. So
Oh, okay, that's nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it was cool.
You're welcome. You guys are all welcome. I hope you guys enjoy your day and, not just this weekend, of course, but all year long. Um, moms always get the most, love and attention and all that, but the dads, they should get the love and attention as well. Um, to change into a completely bad topic to go from one to the other, but I wanted to touch on Watson a little bit. We had talked about this a little bit when the allegations first started coming out, and he first went to the Browns, and how I would feel, if that were my team, and that whole situation. Since then, more allegations have come out and seem like they continue to come out. More info's coming out, that the Texans had some kind of part in this, and it's a really crazy situation. It has been the topic on a lot of shows lately. I don't want to call out anybody or cause any additional problems. However, this is my platform and I'll use it how I want.
Amen to that.
I was listening to a friend's show and they were speaking about it, and somebody on there had said that if a girl is in, or whoever is in that situation, and about to get raped or about to get molested or whatnot, they could get up and walk out of the room or remove themselves from that situation to stop that from happening. And wanted to continue like throughout the whole time saying that they weren't victim blaming, but that the females should get up and leave. So I just wanted to put this out there, as somebody that's gone through this, if you are going to look at a female that has gone through this, or a male, it can happen to anybody, but in this situation, obviously it's the females, and tell them that they can leave the room and tell a guy no, and that guy is going to listen to them, you're smoking fucking crack rocks, okay? Because that doesn't happen. If you think that a girl's going to be in that situation and not try to get out or not try to say no, Like, sometimes a girl just has to lay there and fucking take it because that's the only way she's not going to get killed. So if you think that you can just tell somebody no or get up and walk out of the fucking room and that that's going to stop the situation, you're pretty fucking sick. And this is somebody that I was cool with, somebody that we had on the show, but I can't get down with that thinking. Like, a bunch of people that were talking in the chat last night when this happened all left the show because it it just upset a lot of people. The two females, obviously me as one of them, and even some of my guy friends, the guys in the community, left the show because we just couldn't believe the things that were coming out of this person's mouth. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. What's going on with Watson? And yeah, he everybody wants to talk about, innocent till proven guilty and all this shit. And I'm not saying that he raped these women or, nothing like that. He could have not done nothing wrong, but there's so many women that something happened, and he's admitted to things fucking happening at this point, that he's admitted to girls leaving the room and crying after the session and, admitted to girls telling him no and, all this shit. Like, he's admitted to all that. And yet we're still sticking up for this guy and making it seem like he's done nothing wrong. And that's just crazy to me. Like, I feel so bad for the Browns fans. And, and then people want to say, oh, well, after he starts playing and starts winning, this is all going to be swept under the rug. People are going to forget about it. Because that's what we've seen happen in the past, with Big Ben and, other situations. But I don't think that I can't really, like, I wasn't, obviously as old or into the NFL situation when it happened with Big Ben as I am now. So I don't really remember too much, about like how many women it was and all that. But I know for a fact it was no 20 something, freaking 30 women, whatever Watson's up to now. So that's two big different situations, I think. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit, and I agree, Mike. The girls won't ever forget. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm sorry that you went through a situation like this. And anybody in the chat, if you ever been through this, like, I'm sorry. Like, I hope that you guys have peace with the situation. And I know that, like somebody said, the girls will never forget, but I just hope that if it did happen to you, whether you're a woman or a male, I just hope that, you have peace with whatever happened in your past and you can move forward and it doesn't, hinder you in your life's choices and stuff like that. Cause not everybody's the same. Remember when I was in the military, I seen so many cases because I'm on a ship with like 5,000 people. I was on an aircraft carrier and we go out to sea and stuff like that. And we were out to sea. There was so many cases of like people's, females saying they got molested, they got whatever the case may be, because, we're out to sea sometimes for months at a time where it's like, and I'm not saying it's right, but, people start getting in their feelings, start getting a little horny, whatever the case may be, because they're not out and about and doing all their thing at the same time, like, and I want to believe he didn't do anything. However, and I'm not saying this for the victim. I'm just saying, like, I've seen it go both ways. I've seen it where females said, "Oh, this guy did X, Y, and Z." They go court martial. Come to find out, the female was lying. This and that. But you made a good point. It's not like it was one or two females. You're looking at this a guy who had 66 different masseuses. Like, that's is out of hand. And then the fact that you have up to 30 cases or whatever the case may be, like, something happened.
yeah,
You got almost 50% of these women that are saying something happened. And I didn't even hear that part, Mariah, when you said that he admitted that some of these women were crying and stuff. The fact
yeah,
that he admitted that should make him feel uncomfortable if he was in the right state of mind and say, "Man, I guess I'm doing too much. I need to stop what I'm doing."
yeah.
But I
Because
think a lot,
they
yeah,
released text messages where he texts like the girl the following day and like
mhm,
apologized for making her cry and like all this shit. So
yeah.
like if you're apologizing, you did something wrong.
Yeah, I just feel like it's one of those things, and like I said, I don't want to make an assumption. When you make an assumption, you know what you do. You make a what out of yourself. But something is going on, and until something comes, I mean, and I'll apologize to Deshaun Watson if something, like, if these women were lying, which I seriously doubt. But at this point right now, I don't respect the man. I don't respect him at all because I just feel like he's kind of a predator. He's maybe he's addicted to sex. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? I mean, the fact, and you can do what you want to do in your privacy of your own home. But oh yeah, see, yeah, Brian, I agree, man. So it's like privacy in your home, and the fact he had an ex porn star in his house playing basketball with her and having her dress up and stuff like that. So it's like I feel like he has these fantasies.
I
So I
found out he had a girlfriend like this whole time
Oh,
too.
see, I didn't know that. I know he had Mia Khalifa in his home, the ex porn star, and he was playing basketball with her. He had her dress up like a basketball player, whatever the case may be. But you do what you do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like maybe he does have some kind of like sex addiction or something like
Yeah,
that,
you
and
have
maybe
something.
he has this mentality of like he thinks he's above the law. Like I'm an NFL superstar, and I can go in there and I'm gonna do what I want. Any woman will sleep with me, and this and that. But it doesn't always go that way. You know what I'm saying? So I hope the man gets some help.
Yeah.
I feel sad for all the victims if all this comes out that he did victimize these people. But at the same time, it's like I'm holding my stance, and I don't understand the innocent till proven guilty. We live in America. You have to have a fair trial, but that's to me that's too many women for my liking to come
Yeah.
forward. So yeah, so that's what I have to say about that.
Um yeah. Everybody, last call for your numbers. I'm going to pick right now once we start this next topic. So, um, a little bit with that, we're still having the rumors, obviously, that Baker, to Carolina, but the whole, um, them paying part of his pay and yada yada. Um, if Watson, I would be so surprised if he doesn't get suspended. Okay. The time of suspension, obviously, we have no clue. They could do six weeks, but if something comes out, like it could change, or they could do, well, you're suspended for the year, and we'll wait and see what happens, and then that could change down the line, whether it be longer or not. Um, they obviously, the Browns, that is, worked out Watson's contract, in case he does get suspended this year. And however, they are still on the books for Baker's full contract because that's his 5th year options, fully guaranteed, right? I doubt that Baker puts on a Browns uniform and ever plays for them again, even if Watson gets suspended for the entire year. I just don't. After what they did to him, I don't see him, playing there. Do you think if they're able to move Baker, whether that be to Carolina, whether that be to Seattle, whatever, whether they have to pick up part of his pay or not? Um, and Watson, that's if Watson gets suspended the entire year. That this could be a real possibility for Jimmy to go there. Because Jimmy, as we know, only has 1 year left on his deal. And obviously, they're going to be hoping, at that point, that Watson's only suspended for 1 season, right? So that would be the perfect, fill in the gap till Watson gets back. The Browns have a great team. So I would be damn surprised if they're just willing to throw away their entire season because Watson gets suspended for the year. Because they're paying a lot of people, a lot of good players, a lot of money on that team. So, to just cancel out the year would be kind of crazy. Do you see that this could be a possibility for Jimmy to go there?
Yes, I do. Baker Mayfield holds all the cards right now because of what's going on, and and he's a stubborn kid. Like he's gonna be that type. Like he has a chip on his shoulder. He's like, no, if you didn't want me, like you and I talk about, I'm not gonna keep anybody that doesn't want to keep me. You know what I mean? So he has the leverage to be like, no, I'm not playing for
Yeah.
you. This, and that. And like you said, they have a talented team. I mean, they traded for Amari Cooper. We were talking about it on Spaces about a week ago. And even if they don't get rid of Baker, which I think would be stupid if they didn't, but if they don't get rid of Baker, they can if they keep him, they have, I think Jesse mentioned they have enough money, enough space to even take on Jimmy if they wanted to. You know what I mean? And keep Baker. So I see a situation if I think he should be suspended for at least a year. number 63. Okay, I think he should be suspended for the year, if not more. I mean, you got people like Calvin Ridley who got suspended for a year for betting on his team.
Right.
So the fact that you be like, okay, if you bet on the NFL, you get a year, but if you're showing that you could possibly be a predator, you only get 6 games. What kind of example are you showing? And that's right there is just embarrassing. So he has to be suspended for the year. And like you said, they're paying people some good money. To me, I know the AFC is strong, but the Browns are on the verge of being a playoff team.
Yep.
Like, with there being 7 spots, they could possibly be in there with if they had Deshaun Watson, I'm sure that they probably would make it. But with Jimmy, it's a possibility. Just because that team is so talented on offense and defense, and they have a great running back, as we know, that's what he needs to
Yeah.
succeed. So, I mean, I love me some Nick Chubb. But anyway, so yeah, I see a scenario if and no, I'm going to say when Deshaun Watson gets suspended. I think they'll get on the phones and be like, "Hey, look, I'll offer you a fourth for Jimmy." And I think, and I hope the Niners take it. I hope they're not like, "Well, we have all the cars because you need a quarterback" type thing.
Yeah.
So I think maybe no higher than a third and no less than a fifth. I think. So, and I think if that happens, I think they trade Baker Mayfield to possibly Seattle Seahawks, and he goes there, and they see what they can get out of him, and add some competition for Drew Lock, and I forgot the other quarterback they have. Anyway, the one else, can't remember his name, but anyway, you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, the guy who was playing
Gino.
when Russell Wilson was got
Gino
hurt.
Smith.
Geno Smith, there you go. So yeah, I just think that is a good destination for him. I think he could go to the Browns. But I ultimately think, like, money talks. You know what I mean? I totally have this opinion that I think even if he does get suspended for a year, him and his lawyer are going to somehow clean this up, and these women are going to end up taking like $1 million a piece or something like that to shut their mouths because the dude has his money. You know what I mean? So I hope that doesn't happen because I hate people being bought out
Yeah.
and being like, well, here, because what do you? Because then now you're setting an example for other women to be like, well, you can't come forward because their lawyer's not going to be as high profile as his, and I can't afford a lawyer and all this other stuff. So I think something happens where he doesn't even get in trouble, but he should get suspended for at least a year. But I do agree with you. I think Jimmy goes there, and then Baker goes to either Carolina or to Seattle. So
Bryant says send Jimmy anywhere but Seattle, which we're going to touch on in a minute. But Tanya, congratulations, you won. I'm going to draw your card right now. What's up, Brandon, Troy? Appreciate you guys.
Bryant,
Let's see what Tanya gets here.
What's up, JV? You know what's funny? She picked Junior Seau's number. That's why I was like, I see what you did,
lucky
fam.
Number. Let's get a lucky card. Oh, Trey Lance. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Tanya.
This envelope.
What's up, JV?
But yeah, I personally, I wouldn't mind, and we spoke about this before, him going to Seattle, because at this point, I mean, and if Seattle's the last say, whatever happens, say Cleveland ends up trading Baker to Carolina, but Carolina trades, sends Darnold back, like they swap quarterbacks or whatever, so if that's the only place for Jimmy to go is Seattle, by all means, ship his ass. I'll drive him myself. Like, I could care less having to play against him twice a year.
Yeah.
Like, that's at least 2 interceptions for Fred Warner, twice a season.
Yeah.
Because Fred picked him off every day in practice. So
every day.
You think that's not going to happen in the game? We know Jimmy throws straight to the freaking linebacker. So come on.
Like, yeah, that's one thing he's known for. I have no problems
with him going there.
I mean, that's one thing he's good for is throwing interceptions in practice, and our defense knows him best. I wouldn't be surprised because I know Pete Carroll loves taking our guys, but with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, I don't know if he can fit that offense. He ain't got that arm strength to beat him, to throw deep to them guys. So, but I don't know. Who knows? Desperation. It depends on how Drew Lock looks. Like if Drew Lock is looking pretty good in OTAs and camp, they might just be like, "Oh, okay, cool. Let me get him." But I think ultimately they probably go with a younger guy in Baker Mayfield who is just as good as Jimmy, if not better. You can argue that, and has more tools.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he can throw the deep ball. He's healthier, so we'll see, and he can scramble a little bit. So I think that ultimately that's where Baker goes. I just have a feeling, but
Yeah.
I don't think that Carolina's going to trade for Jimmy. I think I've softened my stance on that because I just don't see it happening. Like I think they're just like like they keep making up that I'm not taking on that salary, and unless we talked about before, Jimmy making 27, 25, I forget the number. Unless San Francisco's like, you know what, I'll trade you for him. I'll take $10 million of his salary. You pay the rest. Then it might happen. But I feel like Seattle's probably a good place for him. It'd be a good place, but I think Cleveland ultimately would be good because then I think because they're a more complete team,
Yeah.
and for his career, it'd be better because if he goes out there, let's just say they go 10-7, 11-6, because they do have a good roster, it's going to look better on him if he stays healthy, and then he can go out and try to fight for another starting job. So, yeah.
Yeah. What's that? John V. Denise. Thank you guys for stopping by. John V says, I don't have Pokemon card. I have a coupon to putt putt. The hell does that mean?
Coupon to putt putt, was that like a golfing place or what, brother?
I don't know. Only two.
Only two. Come on.
Oh, only 2 picks.
Oh, for real. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not a Pokemon card. That's a Trey Lance card. What are you guys talking about, Pokemon card?
Yeah.
Why are they talking about Pokemon cards?
Unless we're lost and there was something that was said that you and I didn't catch, but I don't know.
Oh, John V wants to trade her a Pokemon card.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm about to say there
I'm
must
like,
have been a conversation. Yeah.
y'all don't putt putt in the desert?
Not during the summertime, we don't.
You can't really do much in the desert,
Yeah.
That's why it sucks
100,
here.
112, 113 degrees. I'm not doing nothing, brother.
Putt putt and have a cactus stick up your ass. But yeah, okay. Congratulations, Tanya. Let's move on from that. So we heard the 49ers had the state of the franchise today. Well, it happened, last week or whatever, but it was aired today finally. A few things. I wrote a bunch of notes for everybody that talked, but a couple things before we jump into it that I found kind of crazy. 55 minutes into that thing before Trey Lance's name was mentioned.
Yeah.
The state of the franchise. 55 fucking minutes till you mention your starting quarterback's name. That's kind of crazy because that went through Jed, that went through
Al Guido,
through John Lynch, through Kyle Shanahan, and it wasn't until they were about to leave the stage till Trey Lance's name was brought up. So that was kind of crazy. However, they're getting better.
Huh? Yeah, you know what I think about that, Miriah? I think it's because of who was the one in charge of it, and Greg Papa. He's never said anything nice about Trey Lance. So
Yeah.
I think if it was somebody else, like I remember when Peter Schrager, he used to do it, it was more exciting first and foremost because he had more energy and stuff. But I think it's just because of him. I think because I never heard Greg Papa say anything positive about Trey Lance.
Yeah. And we heard that whole interview that we went off on before where, he, I don't know. I never liked him before, Papa, that is. I definitely didn't like him after that interview on, whose channel was that on? I don't know, but he did some shitty interview where he was just, riding Jimmy the entire time.
Yeah.
And now he wants to wait 55 minutes till he brings up our quarterback's name in this fucking thing.
Yeah.
But they made sure they mentioned his 10-year freaking contract extension, right? Like, we're going to have to listen to this guy calling our games for freaking 11 more years. Like, oh my God. It's going to be dead by the time he freaking ever gets out of there. So I thought it was kind of funny too that Jed wasn't there. So that was interesting that he has to do like a, just a virtual thing.
A
Like they talked about
recording.
the whole
Yeah.
time how they were so happy that they didn't have to do it virtual anymore after the last couple years, and yet Jed's still virtual. So I didn't write any notes on Jed except for Jed not there because that's all he deserves after that. Um, Al Guido, he had some things that I expect the president and CEO to say. He spoke about, they talked about, the game in Mexico City a lot and, turning that into a home game. Obviously, we all know that we have a lot of 49ers fans in Mexico. That is an Arizona home game,
Hmm.
technically. However, you know, 49ers travel well anyway. So hopefully, they turn that into a 49ers game. Um, I thought it was funny. He talked about with COVID and everything, they didn't get the revenge tour that they wanted. I'm like, oh god! Like once he said that, like that was very, in the beginning of when he started talking. I'm like, please don't let this be a whole another. We're gonna run it back, revenge tour all over again. Like, let's not start that. But that's the only time he mentioned it, so I was all right with it. But yeah, I mean, did you take anything away from what Jed and Al Guido had to say?
Not much. I know he kept mentioning like they're gonna have some venues at the stadium and that they're working on parking and
Yeah,
stuff like that because some people were complaining about the parking at the stadium and all that stuff. But I think I think he tried to. Well, I think what I heard from him, he wants the 49er faithful to be patient because he kept bringing up like we have big shoes to fill. It was Bill Walsh, and we're not perfect, and
yeah,
we're gonna do our best to, you know, to get us another Lombardi and all this other stuff. So I think he knows the writings on the wall. I think he knows we've been way too close and haven't succeeded yet in getting that sixth trophy. So I think he wanted to make sure like we knew that they're working hard behind the scenes to try to get the 49ers back to like that elite status of being like the gold standard in the NFL.
yeah.
So that's what I took
Um,
from it as well. So
have you been to a game at Levi's?
just one.
And how was it?
The
How
heat
was
is
your
pretty. The
experience?
heat was pretty unbearable. Like I think they could have did a better job. Like I ain't gonna lie, like I'm jealous of the way the Raider Stadium is
Yeah,
because they keep in the cool. I think they should spend some money. I mean, hopefully, because the 49ers have a lot of money. Like you said, we travel, we sell, like we're top five in merchandise sales, all
yep,
this other stuff. I wouldn't be mad if they like added on to the top of the stadium and made like a retractable roof. It don't always have to be closed, but because it's pretty nice up there for the
yeah,
most part. But at least for like the months where like it's really hot, you can put some shade on your fans, and plus too, remember like we had that game against like the Colts. Like I understand like you want to play, football is a game of you can play in the storm and stuff like that, but it's one of those things where, it might have been easier on us if we would have closed the roof and not have all that rain, like people sitting in a monsoon, you know what I mean? So yeah, so that's how I see it. I mean, it's a nice stadium. Don't get me wrong, but I just think like when we made when our stadium was built, I don't think there was a lot of thought put behind it. I guess you can
yeah.
say of like with the weather and like how much parking there is and stuff like that. Like it's in a good spot, but I think that they should have did more to help out the fans, in my opinion. So
Tia wants a lid built. No, I like when the stadium has the retractable roof because, like you said, when it's too freaking hot, we don't have to have our players out there dying,
um,
or when it's crazy elements. Like, come on.
what Tanya just said is it couldn't happen because the FCC rules, the San Jose Airport won't let them.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's why they
So
shouldn't have never moved it to Santa Clara.
yeah.
They should have found room in freaking over there,
Yeah.
San Francisco. The Warriors found room to build a new place. It's like,
Yeah, I don't know how the foundation was over there. Maybe somebody who lives in that area can tell me. Like, I would have even been okay, like if they just used the Cal Stadium for a couple of years until they built like the new stadium right there at Candlestick. You know what I mean? Like just tear it down, explode it, and then take all the debris out and rebuild a new stadium right there. But
I think,
I
but
mean,
like they didn't have room for parking, and
yeah, the
like there
parking
was
was
a
a mess
problem.
there
Like, yeah,
too.
they didn't have no
Yeah,
space, enough space now. like to keep up with the growing times.
Tanya said there's room over there by Hunter's Point. So okay, but I guess too late now, huh? I guess we're stuck where we are. But
Hey, Melissa, what's up? Um,
Melissa DM me because I'm not sure what you're talking about the Gavin and his captain campaign. So
oh, he keeps posting every day he's going to post every day um, juice until he becomes captain.
oh
So for like, oh, he's been doing it for like a month or something already.
oh
So he posts a new picture of him every day with like a C put onto
oh,
his
does it?
shirt and like tags all the 49ers and stuff.
Uh,
Like that he's going to keep doing it till it becomes a captain.
I think he should be. So
I'm honestly surprised that he wasn't up, already.
yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of captain, I've seen this question brought up a few times now. Do you think that Trey Lance ends up with being a captain this season?
I don't.
No.
Not this year. I think ultimately I think who is it? Kittle. He's one of them, right? Kittle, Trent Williams. What is there? Three on offense, three on defense. Is that what it is?
Well, sometime one year
I
they
don't know.
had seven
Oh, and
and
there's seven. Like I don't know how the rules work. Like I don't know if you have one on special teams, three offense, three defense, or whatever. Trey. I mean, I would like for them to give it to him, but it seems like Kyle can't even commit to him as a starting quarterback. So I think I think it depends on how well he plays in preseason and stuff like that. They can be like, okay, he's ready to get that C on his chest. I ultimately don't think he gets it this year. Probably next year.
I think he does.
Hmm.
Just because that's all we've heard about him so far is how he's come in and been leading and been, stepping up. So, like, I don't know. I always think it's weird when the starting quarterback isn't a captain.
Oh,
Like
I
they're
agree.
supposed to be the leader of the team. That's all we ever
Yeah.
hear. And
Um,
yet, for them not to be a captain, like that's kind of weird.
Let me ask you this: if anybody knows, you or the chat, was any of the rookie quarterbacks a captain last year, like Trevor Lawrence or Mac Jones or any of them? Because I don't think they were.
I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe Zach. We need Jets fan in here to tell us. Um. So, well, I don't know. I mean, who else in Jacksonville would be like? They don't have very many good players to make
Yeah,
captain.
I don't.
So,
I don't know who it would be. Like probably Marvin Jones was probably one, the wide receiver. Um, that running back, I can't remember his name. He's pretty good, Robinson or whatever his name
oh,
is. Him, and then I don't
one
know
they
who
wouldn't
else.
even use.
Yeah, the one that yeah. So I don't. Who knows?
They don't even use their good players. So, so after we heard from those two, we heard from John Lynch and Shanahan. Um, they talked about. Oh well, before we heard from them, another thing about Guido, he was asked, about how he feels about John and Kyle, or I forget what the question was, but he said the first word he said was love, that it's a family going to battle, two at the top on the football side working their asses off to win a Lombardi, that there's no egos.
Yeah, I
you know
heard that.
he talked about how John, even though he got the offers for the TV, that that really is where he wants to be, which obviously he turned down a lot of money to
A
stay there,
lot of money
yeah.
and less stress
um
too.
yeah, and before he closed, he had said that he never felt better in this organization than where it's at right now.
Hmm. I did hear that
So
part.
that's kind of good, coming from, being in the Super Bowl to being in the NFC Championship. And now that we're changing quarterbacks and we lost a lot of our coaching staff and all this, you think this is the best you've ever felt about the organization. So,
Mm.
yeah. And then when we heard from Kyle and John, obviously they talked about the coaching staff changing. Kyle talked about, how normally after the season ends that he's ready, gets like a month off of football and doesn't want to do anything to have to do with football, for a month, gets his vacation, whatever. And this season it was a little bit different because after 4 days into it, all his offensive coaches started disappearing. And, we talked about that before, whether it have been because, they got better job opportunities or because they weren't in on Trey, which, I've heard that there's both have to do with the situation there. But he talked about how, sometimes you don't always, and I've personally just dealt with, this similar situation, that you might not always see change or, think that you need change or want change, but that after it happens, it ends up being the best thing, for the situation and you end up getting better from it.
Yeah,
Um, he talked up obviously, Mike McDaniel, that he's been his assistant for the last 50 years
15
and
years. Yeah, that's a long
and
time.
yeah, like done everything for him, been everywhere with him. And now about the new guys, he touched on Clay Kubiak, which I thought was interesting because I really wasn't, familiar with his story, like how he all of a just sudden got to the team, like,
Yeah,
and he talked about how he was, coaching, I think high school, he
like in
said,
Texas or
and
something like that. He didn't want to leave Texas,
yeah,
and
he
yeah,
didn't
yeah, I
want to
heard.
be in the NFL. And then,
Yeah,
last year he calls up and says, like he'd be, he pretty much couldn't live with himself if he died and not hadn't given the NFL a chance, at coaching. And so there he is. So he talked about Anthony Lynn, filling in for Bobby Turner. Um, yeah, I mean, I, besides him not speaking about Trey Lance to the very end,
hmm,
he said some pretty good things for Kyle being Kyle. They talked about, the draft picks a little bit. What were your thoughts about what they talked about? Anything stuck to your mind?
yeah. And another thing he brought up too, he talked highly of Brian Greasy too. He
Yeah,
was saying that like yeah, like even though he hasn't coached, but he has like he's very knowledgeable and stuff like that. And you and I and a couple other people in here have talked about it. It's like I'm not worried about that because he played quarterback in the NFL effectively for a decade. So I can't be upset about him not being able to coach because it's a position he knows. You know what I'm saying? So another thing too, like that comment that you made was kind of had me scratching my head a little bit when he said like sometimes you lose people and then you get better. Like I felt like I think he was trying to sell us on how the offensive line is going to be because he kept bringing that up a lot. Like I know we don't have this person and that person, but I know you don't know what they look like yet, but we know what we see and this and that. So I mean, I feel better. I at least feel better about that left side of the line. It's the right side I think I'm worried about, but he mentioned that a couple times. Like, yeah, sometimes you make changes and it makes you better, and this and that. So, I mean, I hope so. I hope what he's saying, saying comes true. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty excited about the coaching staff. Like, I don't see any real holes that we have. I mean, I think the only time I'd really start worrying is when Chris Kasarik or D'Amico are on their way out. When that comes, then I'm gonna be a little worried. But he got that Hankerson guy that will touch on that probably what the wide receivers kept talking about. How they love him and he's still young. And I didn't even know he played with Kyle on two teams.
yeah,
So he was a receiver, so he knows Kyle's offense. So yeah, so I'm pretty I'm pretty positive. I have a lot of positivity going into this season. Um, I just hope that everything is right, and I know we'll probably touch on that guy. What was his name? The special teams coach that came from Seattle.
yeah.
Because he had some
Brian
good.
Schneider.
Brian Schneider, yeah, he had some good things to say about all the guys who we got, which happened just to be like his top guys he wanted on the team. So, which is crazy. So, yeah, I think John and Kyle have had some good things to say. So,
Yep. Thank you, Melissa. She said from a quick look that she doesn't see that any of the other quarterbacks wore the C.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I didn't think so.
And then Bryant says, "Don't you have to do something before you become captain?" You would think, but that's definitely not the case on a lot of teams. There's a lot of players that haven't done shit and become a captain, or have done something on another team and come over and are a captain right away. Or
Yeah,
I've seen tons of rookies that are captains, so
yeah,
that's definitely not the case. The 49ers are a little strange when it comes to captains, and like because the first couple years that Shanahan was there, we didn't even have captains at all. So
yeah.
um, I saw somebody that I hadn't.
I
Oh yeah,
agree, Troy.
49er Jeff. What's up? Thank you for joining us. But yeah, I wanted to speak about Brian Schneider before, and we just hadn't got to it. But after his press conference last week or the week before, whenever it was, and he had talked about, obviously he came from Seattle. He was Seattle's special teams coach, and he took last year off. He talked about, he did it for personal reasons and, pretty much spend time with his kids because, they're already so grown and, all that. And it sounds like, he's in a much better place than he was, it seems, prior to that. He talked about, like getting just his mentals right, and, making sure that he really loved football. And we obviously knew, from the looks of it, it was a big dumpster fire in Seattle last season. And, it's been heading that way with, what's his face wanting out and all that. But I think that this was a good move for us to get him. Kyle said
Yes.
that he didn't even interview him.
I
that,
know. That's
that,
crazy.
they just found out, okay, he's available. Yes, get him. Like before somebody else could snatch him up.
Yeah.
And, we talked about before about, Kyle keeping coaches on this team that were just like homies that, and the special teams was so weak. Like,
Oh my God.
talked
Yeah.
about it all season long about how shitty special teams was, and like, get your friends out of there, get real coaches in there to do something. So I'm really hoping that we see a big jump in special teams this season. He talked about how, like, pretty much the players on his list at the top of every group, we were able to get.
Yeah. That's crazy.
About Burks being the number one on his list. And, Kyle also talked about, and we knew how Kyle feels about, like, he don't want just players that can just be special teams players.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't fill another role on the team, like, you're pretty much shit out of luck. Something before I forgot that Kyle, when he spoke about Ray, I hadn't seen him like light up about a player like that for a while. Like, he said that, like, Ray's a guy that he wanted as a receiver. Like,
correct.
He less about the special teams part of it.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like, I wanted that guy. Like, that's who he went into the offseason wanting. Like, I don't know. That was kind of crazy. Like, you have all these wide receivers on the team that we think are great, and yet he's there like drooling over Ray. That we all thought, okay, yeah, we got this guy because he's a return guy and he's, can fill in on that spot. But no, like, it legit seems like Kyle wants this guy like as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts about hearing about that?
Yeah. So yeah, I find it funny because as you can see, hold on for a minute. Give me 1 second. Hold on, Miriah.
Okay. Because I thought I had wrote down, yeah, he had like was glowing about Ray. It's like, man, like, I knew he was fast, but oh yeah,
Anyway.
Kyle. He said he wanted him as a receiver badly.
Yeah. So when they asked Schneider, so Kyle said that before the draft, free agency, all that stuff, him and Schneider sat down, and he was like, you're the special teams coach. Who do you want on this team as far as like, to beat your top guys? And he was like, Oren Burks was the linebacker I want, and then he was like, George Oldham was top of my list of who I want because he made a Pro Bowl as a special teamer, and then he was like Ray McLeod as a punt returner. And that's when Kyle was like, well, wow, I didn't even see him like that. It's funny you want him as a special teamer when I want him as I wanted him as just a receiver, you know what I mean? And everywhere Kyle has went, he's always had that smaller, shifty, fast slot receiver. And I think like Ray kind of fits the bill because he had like Aldrick Robinson in Cleveland, then he had Taylor Gabriel. Like he's always had that guy who's like who can beat you deep, that can do like kind of like a gadget guy type thing. So yeah, I think that's why he liked him so much. But it's cool that our special teams was so weak last year that we went out and got these guys who Schneider had on the top of his list, and then we went out and made his job easier because he thinks he can work. He also thinks like Oren Burks, and Oren Burks is like a good, not just a special teams liker, but just a good linebacker in general.
Yeah,
so that's
like
just
that
more so
fills
that
in that vet
fills
linebacker,
in that vet linebacker role. So he could be another one who can come in and compete for a starting job because they said he's so athletic and stuff like that. And if D'Amico Ryans can coach him up and he can put it all together, that's another one who can come out. I think Oren Burks is only like 27 too, so that's another one that can come out and possibly be a beast for us in case there's an injury. So
yeah. So I'm excited, like not only what the coach can do for us by himself, but the fact that, he put together a wish list and we were able to get him those pieces, and he talked about that's never been done for him before. Like Seattle didn't do that for him. Like they weren't going to get the top players that he had on his list or, like trying to make his job easier in that regard. So hopefully we do see a big pickup in special teams. What's up, David? Appreciate you coming by. Melissa says we needed the biggest shakeup on special teams. And then what's the biggest victory? New special teams coach or the new quarterback coach? You're muted, I think.
I would say both. Scangarello, I didn't care for him at all.
Yeah, I couldn't stand his
And
ass.
the Hightower, I just felt like he was a little bit too passive. Like I just don't think he knew how to coach the guys up to be like to go out there and be like dogs out there on special teams.
That's what I was just gonna say. Hightower was
really?
a dog himself, you know.
Yeah. So
like, okay, guys, go out there and do better.
yeah,
Like,
I want to tell you in the chat. I got something that popped up on my computer about an automatic restart, and I was trying to postpone it, and it won't let me. So I might have to be off in a minute and a half.
You see what he's doing? He's trying to cut you guys short.
Never. I was trying to postpone it, but it won't let me. It says it has to update for new files or something. I don't know. So just letting you guys know.
All right, better be fast. I'll hold it down. What were they saying here? Oh yeah, like I was upset about when Webster left.
Oh, yeah.
Like I thought he was going to be a good piece for us last season.
Yeah, because he looked good. I was like, man, but we had to save that spot for Jalen Hurts.
Oh my god. Yeah. Kyle has some crazy things that he does. Like he can be such a genius, and then sometimes just make you scratch your head, like what the hell. And then we heard from obviously D'Amico. I mean, D'Amico always says the same. He's like such a well-spoken guy, He did talk about Ward that, the number one thing with him is his confidence, his man-to-man skills. Kyle talked glowingly about Ward as well. So, yeah, I'm excited for him. Like, we had it, with Jason Verrett, but obviously he couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah.
So to have Ward in there, if he can be what Jason Verrett was, that's great. And then we heard from my GOAT, Brandon Ayuk, and Juwan Jennings. I think it was pretty cool, that they brought in like the two wide receivers. Like normally they're bringing in like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say bigger names, but more like George Kittle and, Eric Armstead, the same guys that we always have to hear from. So it was nice to actually be able to hear from Brandon Ayuk in that role and, from Juwan Jennings, because we really didn't get to hear from him that much, previously. So, yeah, I'm guessing he's gone now, or else he's just staring at me looking crazy. What is this? Who has gone first officially, 10 or D? Whew, probably D, unfortunately. Yeah, I would hope 10. I mean, I would hope both, but I think that D Ford ends up being gone first, just because I think that he'll be able to pass his physical before Jimmy can. So, yeah. I think that Jimmy is still on this team, obviously, because he's injured. I'm not moving off that hill. And that's what we continue to hear, from Kyle, I think. As much as I'm pissed because we didn't hear, them talk about Trey Lance till 55 minutes into it, they didn't talk about Jimmy. So that's a plus. Because last year we didn't hear them talk about Trey at all. Remember, like we went into it and stayed at a franchise, and you guys didn't even mention our first round draft pick at all. So, and talked up Jimmy the entire time. So at least we didn't hear from Jimmy during the state of the franchise, which continues to lead me to believe that he's gone. Let's see. Yeah, like I think their vibe together, Juwan Jennings and Ayuk, like their vibe together is good. I'm so glad that they both spent the whole off season working out with Trey. So I'm excited. I'm kind of worried, how like everybody, oh, Debo's the best and he's so wonderful, but like he hasn't had any work with Trey. They didn't work together last year. They haven't put in any work together this season, so, I mean, we'll see what happens there. I'm still not convinced how that whole Debo situation is going to work out, but I mean, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, they had glowing things to say about Trey, that, like he's a dude. What did Ayuk said? Oh, that we have a special quarterback. So that was pretty cool. It's nice to hear the team finally be talking great about Trey. TL's better hurry up because I can't just sit here and talk to myself. Let's do a giveaway while we wait for him to come back. Everybody put your numbers in the chat. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Appreciate you guys staying to rock with me. I'm really freaked Debo is going to pull OBJ. Yeah, I mean, that's been my whole thing on it. Like, of course I want Debo to be there and everything, but at this point it's still like the guy asked for a trade. Like, he doesn't want to be there, like we've seen all these other players on our team, off our team, other teams, in contract negotiations, and they're not asking for trades just to have it be part of a negotiation. Like, there's all kinds of other things they can do, tactics and all this without asking for a trade. Like, to actually ask for a trade, like, that's going a step beyond like that what needs to be done, I think, me personally. And I brought this up before, just like in a relationship, like, if you're married to somebody that's telling you every day they don't love you and don't want to be with you, stop trying to keep them there. Like, they don't want to be there, so I don't know. That's my thing. Like, we have a great team, tons of talent. If the guy doesn't want to be there, yeah, he's great talent. We've seen him have a hell of a season. But I mean, we're gonna have to fill it in with somebody that wants to be there, guys. It's like, I don't know. I can't see just hanging on to the guy that and he still, yeah, like, he hasn't still rescinded his trade offer, so it's like he might have shown up because he needs to and not get fined. But I mean, you can want to get paid, but like, you want to get paid and ask for a trade from the team that's supposed to be paying you? I don't know. It's kind of crazy to me. But we all have our own feelings about it. I think you can scrub your social and do all that shit and be wanting to get paid without asking for a trade. That's just me. Everybody got your numbers in? Give you guys a couple more few seconds. All right. Gonna pull a number right now. 50. Ooh, now I got two screens. Still can't get the shit right.
That was a quick restart.
Okay. We're doing a giveaway right now. Let me see who won. The number was 50, so it looks like it's probably going to be Mike. I would think. All right. Congrats, Mike. Let me see what else they were saying. So you could. I was talking about, before I started doing this, about Brandon Ayuk and Juwan Jennings, what they talked about, and saying that Trey was special quarterback, and I was kind of
Somebody
talking
said
about.
it.
I was kind of talking about, the whole Debo not wanting to be there and how he's not getting any work in with Trey. Mm-hmm. No work last season, no work this season. And Ayuk's now worked with him 2 seasons in a row. So
yeah. Well, it's gonna suck because I mentioned don't get too attached to any players. I mean, I know we have our favorites and stuff like that, but I know at the end of the day it's a business. So I truly believe that Debo's gonna get his money, but at the same time, it's like, man, like, I'm looking at Juwan Jennings. I'm not saying he's Debo, so none of people calm down, but he's looking like a dog out there. He's looking like a straight beast, and I know he doesn't have the versatility of a Debo and stuff like that. However, if they want to sit on this deal and be like, you know what, we want you to play in 2022 on your last year of your deal, and then we'll pay you next year. But if Ayuk and Debo go out and kill it this year, you know what I mean? You can only keep one. You can't pay 2 receivers over $20 million. You know what I mean? But I like the fact that Cooper Kupp took a kind of a small deal for his status.
Well, and then he's been saying that all along that that's what he
Yeah.
was going to do.
Yeah, like he's not one of those he doesn't want Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill money. Like what he got helps us. You know what I
And
mean? So
he was just Super Bowl MVP,
yeah,
like all this shit,
yeah. I
and
mean
he
then he had
wasn't
the
there
most.
fighting for money.
Well, here's the thing about him too. He won the triple, what they call it, the triple crown, where
Yeah.
he had the most catches, the most receiving yards, and the most receiving touchdowns.
Yep.
And yet he took a smaller deal. So kudos to him. I can't stand the Rams, but kudos to Cooper Cup for doing what he did because he knows at the end of the day it's a team sport, and you have to, you have to kind of sacrifice. It's not like he's getting paid peanuts. You know what I mean? So with Debo, like it's gonna be interesting if Debo doesn't get a contract before the season starts. I don't think he'll be here next year because I think they're just going to be like, you know what, we're going to roll with the younger guys and Juwan Jennings, and because Debo's already like 27,
Yeah.
20, he'll be 28, like I think at the end of the year, beginning of next year. So then you got Brandon Ayuk 25 or 24, whatever he is, and Juwan Jennings same age. So if Juwan Jennings and Ayuk go out there and kill it, we can't keep everybody. So somebody's going to have to be the odd man out. So it's going to be interesting. So basically, if we pay Debo, I hate to say it, I know he's your boy. Ayuk is probably gone. But if we don't pay Debo and Ayuk just goes out and kill it, then Debo's probably gone. So it's gonna be like pick your poison type thing. So it's gonna suck.
Yeah. Before we jump onto what Melissa's saying about Bosa, let me pull Mike's card here. George Kittle, time stamped, numbered 12 out of 99.
Hmm. And who won this card?
Mike.
Oh, okay. Congratulations, Mike.
Congrats, Mike.
My military buddy.
Melissa had asked, who do we want playing opposite side Nick Bosa?
Who do I want playing opposite of Bosa?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever looks the best. I mean, we have a lot of competition. I mean, Kamoko Toure, I heard he's out there killing it. I heard he's unstoppable right now. So, and he's hungry. He's on. It's funny because all of our edge rushers are on like 1 year deals. Kamoko Toure, Kerry Hyder, Jordan Willis. After this season, Ebocom is done. So all these four guys are going to look to get paid as well. So they're all hungry, which is a good problem to have because that just creates more competition because they're going to want to get paid, like Kerry Hyder did. When he left us the first time. So don't think that Toure and Ebocom and all of them aren't licking their chops. I mean, I think we have so much competition. I think that what's that guy's name? Drake Jackson's going to be more of a situational guy. Like he'll probably get maybe 10 to 12 snaps a game or something like that. But I don't think he's going to be the main edge as of now.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah, I think Toure, Hyder, or Ebocom is gonna be one of the ones who wins. And I know it's a generic answer, Melissa, but whoever looks the best. If it's Toure, if it's Ebocom, if it's Hyder, I don't care. Who's gonna get the most pressure on this quarterback? So that's who I want. I mean, I was high on Ebocom last year, and I thought the last like 6-7 games he came on after Armstead moved inside, and him and both Charles and Minihue both said another year in the system, watch out. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I've also heard, like we've heard the team, and Bosa as well, kind of talk up Drake, but I'm hearing that the people that like have been there watching camp, and I've heard this from several different people, that what they're seeing is not matching what the 49ers are trying to sell about him. So I don't know. Like I'm hearing that he looks overweight, like he put on weight, and it's just looking like the weight's not like proportioned right, like that it's heavyweight, that he lost speed, and he's supposed to be a speed rusher. So, if you're putting on weight that's making you slower, that kind of screws up the speed rushing side of it.
Yeah. They said after the draft he put on like 20 pounds or something like that. So and then too, I remember during OTAs or mini camp or whatever, he was getting manhandled by some guy who probably's not even going to make the team.
Yeah.
I was like, who is this tackle? I never even heard of him, and he was giving Drake Jackson fit. So he's young. I think, like I said, it's not the players who I'm excited about. It's Chris Kosaric.
Yeah.
Chris Cassell brings the best out of all those guys. So I think Drake Jackson will get it together. And that's one thing that Kyle had said too when Greg Popper brought it up. Remember, he was just like, "What do you guys think about Drake Jackson?" And they were like, "Oh, he's really good. He's a speed rusher, and and I know we look at it and it's like, do we really need 18 edge rushers?" And he was like, "Yeah, we do, because we want to have that versatility." So Drake Jackson, he'll be situational. I say 10 snaps early on, probably in third down and stuff like that. But yeah, I haven't heard anything. Of course, the coaches are going to talk him up and, oh, he's good, because they don't want to,
Yeah.
they don't want people freaking out and all this other stuff.
Especially when
But
that's your first draft
that's your
pick that you
first
had this
draft
year.
pick. Yeah, they don't want people freaking out. But yeah, if you go back and look, he got dominated in camp by this dude who's probably won't even make the practice squad, if we're being honest here. He probably not. I think he's just a camp body who won't even make the team. So
Yeah. I'm not still convinced that Sosa makes the team. So
yeah.
I mean, we'll see how, especially with all this competition, and he's making a lot more money than the rest of them. So
6.5 million, right?
yeah.
So the thing with Sosa, for him to remain on this team, he's gonna have to stand out above the rest. He's gonna have to be out there killing it. But if his play is equivalent to Turray and Kerry Hyder, he's gone. Because they're like, if I have these other guys who are giving me the same production as him, I'm gonna cut the guy who's making the most money. So he's gonna have to really stand out and give us like D4 type vibes, like whenever
Yeah,
he
and we know
plays.
that Hyder is Chris's guy,
Yeah,
like that's his dude. So even if Sosa is playing a little bit better than Hyder, but Hyder's making freaking 5 million less than Sosa, like
yeah,
come on.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's all a business.
Yep.
Don't curse my dude leaving. I don't think he will. I don't think he's gonna leave, but I'm just saying, like, I think he loves his job. I think he loves being the D line coach. Like, I don't even think he wants to be the D coordinator. I think he loves exactly what he's doing. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not.
what I got from it. I don't think
Yeah,
he will
I
leave.
don't think so. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna leave. He ain't
Hey,
leaving
Bebop.
Melissa.
Appreciate you stopping by, Bebop. Yeah, I don't think he'll leave. Like, I think him and Shanahan are like tied together.
Yeah,
Unless D'Amico gets a job and then, somehow offers to pay, Chris more money than what he's making right now. But I know
to
the
do the same thing. Yeah,
49ers like have him paid very well
yeah.
to keep him there. So I would
That's a
be
good
very
point.
surprised.
That's a
But
good point. Yeah, D'Amico Ryan's can go somewhere like he almost had that Vikings job, and they run a 4-3 like we do. So it could have been like, hey, I'll give you 2 million more a year than what you're getting to come be my D line coach here in Minnesota, or whatever the case may be.
yeah.
So yeah, that's
And
all.
then what if, that happens, D'Amico goes somewhere next year and we get, what's his face that everybody wants, that was from the Broncos, that
Vic
wants to
Fangio.
change the fucking system and all this shit. Does that make us lose Chris? Like,
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
Vic
that's,
Fangio. I think I'm over that. Like, let's
I
just
don't want that, man.
no same.
Like, why do we keep getting all these old freaking washed up freaking people? Like, shit. Like, that's why I'm kind of glad, like, with like we talked about Hank, the wide receivers coach. We heard
Yeah,
Ayuk, say like he got hella excited when asked about him. Was like,
he
that's my
did.
dude,
He's like, that's
like,
my guy. Yeah,
and
yeah,
talked about him because he's young, and like, so like I'm glad that they're like getting newer, younger, fresher coaches in there.
yeah,
Like you keep all these old ass coaches and keep thinking stuff's going to change. Well, they're already set in their own ways. They've been coaching 50 years, doing it the same way for all 50
yeah.
years. And you think that they're going to change now at the end of their career? Like, I highly doubt it.
Yeah, and you make a great point. It's like, Vic Fangio's always been a 3-4 guy. So if he comes in there and wants to, change the scheme, and Chris Cassell might be like, no, I'm not feeling that. Like, I'm a 4-3 guy. Like, I'm good with, the way I like to use my edge rushers. Because in the 3-4, it's mainly your outside linebackers who are rushing the passer. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't see him leaving at all, though.
Um, a couple other things I want to touch on. We heard the announcement this week that Sherman got a TV deal. So obviously he's not going to be playing. I don't think he officially, said that he's retiring or anything, but obviously he's not playing this season. And like we see, the last time he played with Tampa Bay, he got hurt, and that's kind of how that went.
Yeah.
So like I'm happy for him. We were kind of Breezy was talking about this morning on his show. Shout out to Nitty Gritty, and about how like he used to hate Sherman and now he's okay with him, and like that's I seriously like if you would have asked me one of the players in the NFL that I hated the most, it would have been Sherman. Like he was at the top of
Absolutely.
that list for me. Like I could not stand his ass.
Hmm.
Like I was so pissed when the 49ers signed him at first. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like out of all the players you're going to go and get like this freaking guy, like, and I'm like, I'm never going to like him, like I don't care. But he, won me pretty quick.
Yeah,
And, like I have nothing but respect for the guy
for
now. And
sure.
like he's such a brilliant football mind. I think he's going to do
Yeah.
great in TVs. I
Oh,
think that's
absolutely.
that's a great spot for him.
Yeah, he's well spoken, and I mean, the guy he went to Stanford. I mean, you can't be a dummy and go to Stanford. So,
Right.
yeah, I think yeah, I'm with you. I couldn't stand the guy. All the stuff with him and Crabtree and going back and forth, and then on Thanksgiving, him eating the turkey leg
Yeah.
on
Ugh.
our emblem. I'm just like, why this guy? But I warmed up quick to him after he came in and started. I think that first game against Tampa Bay when he started, I think he had like a pick six, didn't he?
Yeah. I
Like, and
think
I
so.
was just like, oh, okay, like, yeah. 'Cause I remember he had a pick six, and I think Witherspoon dropped an interception. I remember, and I just was like, man, I was just like, okay, like I can get used to this.
Yeah. And then I saw a couple people, comment on my shirt, and in case you guys don't know or forgot or whatever, these shirts, he has a bunch of different drip, care players, and now he's doing big head players. Has a whole bunch of stuff going on over there, dabbing all day. Make sure if you guys want some gear, you guys go and hit him up at Inspector_Dabbit on Twitter. Really great guy. We are going to be working out something with him soon to bring you guys some gear for the show as well. That is in the works. But yeah, he's a great guy. So make sure you guys go check him out, follow him, and go get some 49ers gear ready for the season.
Yep.
Did you want to remind everybody about the Raiders 49ers game?
Oh yeah. So, I'm gonna mention this on every episode.
You already got a big head.
Yeah,
Go.
he did a big head on me. So yeah, to anybody that's even thinking about coming to Vegas or have changed their mind because they thought like the ticket prices for the Raiders 49er game is too expensive. I actually rented out a sports bar here in Vegas that holds up to 50 people. And so the tickets right now for the Raider game are like starting off at $600 for nosebleeds. I think the middle section is like $1,100. So the fact that it's New Year's Eve weekend, hotels are going to be outrageous. What you call it, airplane tickets are going to be outrageous. So if you just want to come to Vegas and do for like a 49er meetup, just let me know. You can DM me. You guys, pretty much everybody in here knows my Twitter, TO 49er magic _23. So if you're interested, just let me know. I rented it out from noon to 5. The game starts at 1. So we're going to be trying to do some giveaways, and during the duration of the game, or I think even before, I think an hour before the game starts, actually, free appetizers. Excuse me, free appetizers. For the time we rent the space, there's two big screen TVs in there, so we can watch the game on there on two screens. So if you're interested, just shoot me a DM. It's only $40 to get in, which is a heck of a lot better than paying $600 to sit in the nosebleeds. And tickets are selling fast for the game.
Yeah.
So, I would like to meet every one of you. Shake your hand, chop it up, joke around, have some appetizers and watch this game. So yeah, I know you're gonna be there, Tanya. I can't wait to meet you. So yeah, just let me know. Like I said, you can DM me or Trey Way. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he's kind of helping me with the event. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Um, yeah. So if you're interested, I don't pick the food until a month before the event starts. So you guys can even give me some ideas what you like to eat, whether it's pizza, wings, or whatever the case may be. So because I have to get a menu together 4 weeks before the event. So yeah. I would look forward to seeing all of you because I live here. I don't have to pay for airplane or hotel room, and I'm still not paying for those tickets. Like
Yeah.
I rather do something different with my money. I'm not because I don't like to sit in nosebleeds. I don't like sitting in nosebleeds because I think it's a waste of time to go to a game and sit up that high.
Yeah.
And for the seats that are reasonable, that are kind of like in the middle section, $1,100. Nah, I'm not feeling that. So
Yeah, that's crazy. And like a couple of people have said that, they're trying to go to a couple games this season, and if they
mhm.
go to the Raiders, game, that takes their entire budget for the entire season away, and it's
Yeah,
like you could either go to 4 games, everywhere other places, or come to one, and like
yeah,
I'm so upset that they chose to do it on
that
a New Year's
weekend.
game. Like
Yeah, that was. I
New
mean, that was
Year's
a
in
money
Vegas, like
grab.
that's a horrible freaking thing right
Yeah,
there.
that was a money grab for sure. Like it's like, I mean, depending on where you live, you're probably looking at round trip tickets like $800. Then you're looking at hotel stay another $400 a night,
And that's if there's
and
even, I'm
that's if
sure,
there's
like the hotels are sold out so fast for New Year's. Like I'd
yeah.
be
So
surprised if there's even
yeah,
hotel rooms still.
yeah. I mean, you can look at other places, but yeah, hotel rooms are going to be everything's going to be spiked. All the costs are going to be spiked. Then you
Yep.
got the game itself, so you can be looking at like a $3,000 trip to watch a 49er game. Which, like I said, I don't put a cost on people's entertainment. You do what you do, but I'm not paying them those prices. So, like I said, I'd have more fun sitting at a sports bar, chopping it up with all of you and laughing and getting to know you guys, stuff like that, instead of paying for those tickets. So
Yeah. Dropping F bombs and stuff.
yeah, because
You know how you do.
that's what Miriah does best.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun though. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to that.
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean that's all we really have. If you didn't have anything else. Yeah, the
You, Tanya, yeah, I'm not paying those prices. Yeah, I feel you, Tanya. It's ridiculous. Like Mariah said, they picked the worst weekend possible. I mean, for Vegas, it's smart. Don't get me wrong, it's smart for because they're going to get their money
yeah,
regardless. But they really could have made more money if they were like, you know what, let's put the game in October, November, and then have people come and buy out all the hotel rooms that day, and still got your money on New Year's, because that's what people do. They come to Vegas on New Year's, so
yeah,
they made it hard for like the average person who has average income to come to this game, especially if you want to watch a couple. Because I plan on going to that Carolina game, Carolina away game, which is is going to cost, and then two, yeah, you look at this game, it's going to cost, and I'm trying to go to that Chiefs game because it's on my birthday on October 23rd. We play them, so that's another game I want to go to. So I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket into spending $1,100 on one ticket. That's ridiculous.
yeah. And then you don't usually go to the game by yourself, so you're gonna need more than one ticket to go to the game. Like, for me and my wife to both go to the Raiders game, like that'd be outrageous. Like, there's no way. And like you said, that's with us living here, not having to buy plane tickets or hotel tickets.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like Ing says, him, his girl, his son, like
Yeah, exactly. Like,
over $3,000 for freaking just the damn game tickets. Like, it's crazy.
yep. No, you're absolutely right. It's crazy. Yes, I want to go to that game. Is that Michael Eng?
Yeah.
Volkniker? Yeah. So yeah, that's the game I want to go to. I have some friends over there in Carolina, so we're supposed to meet up, and I'm gonna go to that game. But yeah, that's one game I'm targeting for sure.
I would like, I don't know how our situation is going to be this year, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be making it to any games.
Yeah, like,
Hopefully.
I'll be watching them all on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel you on that. And to me, I don't know how some people are like. Don't get me wrong, I love to watch my Niners in person, but I have fun sitting on my couch on my recliner and watching it on TV. I don't have to worry about people crawling all over me because I need to use a restroom,
Yeah.
and having to walk to my car afterwards and have to deal with parking. And you got these drunk fans who want to fight you sometimes, and I'm like, I'm not with all that foolishness. So in
Yeah,
this
and I
game,
like to be able to hear what's going on.
yeah,
Like I don't want to be nobody talking in my ears. Like like I got to be focused while the game's on.
yeah, I feel you on that. And
Like
and we all
you
know,
think
yeah,
you
we all
got
know
f
the history.
bombs here? Shit, you don't want
And
to
we
be
all know
listening
the
to the
history.
game.
We all know the history with those two teams. That on top of that, the Raiders and
Yeah,
Niners. So I'm sure it's going to be. I'm sure it's going to get ugly, no matter who wins that game. So
yeah. There's gonna be probably a lot of fights in the parking lot afterwards.
and fight each other. TL John, I don't know if you want this smoke, brother. I'm good with these one hitter quitters, if you know what I'm talking about. but yeah, just DM me, fam. Like I said, if you're interested, it's called Gordon Bursch. It's a pretty popular, and it's not too far from the strip either. So, I heard people who were going to the game saying, even after the game is over, they'll meet up over there, and we'll just take over that whole bar.
Yeah.
All Niner fans chilling. So,
Yep, should be fun.
yep,
But yeah, I think that's all we got today,
yep,
guys.
that's it. Not much going on. I
No.
think maybe next week or the week after we can start doing the position breakdowns.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll
let's
do
just
that.
arm wrestle. I, I'll get you like over the top. I'll flip my hat backwards for you, and we'll arm wrestle. You remember that movie, Miriah? Over the
No,
Top with Sylvester Stallone. You don't remember that movie? Oh man, yeah, it's a classic. You got to watch that movie.
I don't watch that shit.
It's good.
I do the fighting. I don't watch no fighting fucking shit.
You don't like fighting movies?
I do the fighting.
You can't fight. Get out of here.
Catch me outside. How about that? All right, guys. We'll be on sometime next week. We'll be around. We have some guests lined up in the works to come on as well. So we'll bring you guys some content in this little month-long. What is
Yeah,
it?
like 6 weeks
6
with no
weeks.
football.
Yeah.
July
Woo.
20th. It's only June 15th. We literally have 6 weeks of no football.
Man.
So I think the position breakdowns would be perfect right now, huh? So we have
Yep.
some stuff to talk about. So
All right, you guys. Much love. We love you guys too. Everybody stay safe. Be nice to each other. All that good stuff.
are you okay, Mariah?
No.
Okay, telling people to be nice. That's not like you. No, I'm just
Well,
playing.
because there's been some crazy shit going on, so
Yes, there has.
we don't
All
need
right,
to be
fam.
crazy.
You guys have a good evening.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.